Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the third quarantine episode of the Slim and Bone Show. Tonight we got a special guest with us, along with Chris Kearns. We got Brian White here. We're going to do our Philly-born top 20 athletes. And we're going to start that off, and then we're going to go into some NFL talk, NBA, and baseball, as they're all starting tomorrow. There was actually a scrimmage today in the NBA. But we're going to start off with how's everybody doing first?
Well, I mean, we were trying to get together for the last few weeks. It's been busy. Everyone's up to something with summertime going on. So I'm happy to be back, giving the people what they want. And
we're the only gift bags that are busy on the middle of a pandemic where you can't leave the house.
And it's funny because I was going to say, me and Bones can't even link up together. He works overnight. He's home by 2 with the kids. And then I'm working the weekends and late at night as a fucking pizza dude right now. So it's even us pizza guys are busy, especially during the pandemic. Yeah.
A fatso like me and Adam ordering all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot. This list is inspired by the 94-1 GOAT of Broad Street list, which I'm sure most people in Philadelphia who's plugged into the sports scene have seen by now. Iverson was 1. Nick Foles was 9. The list was pretty much a travesty. I can't believe Iverson's 1, especially with how little success we had outside of that finals run. But we're here. We didn't want to do a go to Broad Street list, and we wanted to talk about who are the best athletes ever born in Philadelphia. I know with my list, I kept it strict to players born in the city. I know there's guys like Joe Frazier who moved into the city. I'm unsure they made others people's list. We'll find out. But, we got our top 20, and I think hopefully we have 3 diverse lists. And hopefully we got Whitey on today that hopefully plugged us in where we went wrong. So you want to go first, Bones, or you want me to go first? You can go first because I got it. My number 20 is a pretty classic guy.
My number 20 is not a guy. It's actually a female, and it's Dawn Staley.
Oh, wow.
Dobbins Tech grad, 2-time National Coach of the Year, or 2-time Player of the Year in college. She's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, 3-time gold medalist, 6-time Coach of the Year, and she's a national champion head coach with the South Carolina Gamecocks a couple years ago. Went to Temple, played at Temple.
Now, went to Temple, coaches at South Carolina.
She coached at Temple first before she went to Temple
first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds right now. Yep, I have Dawn Staley on my list too, but a little bit later. My number 20 is a guy named Doug Allison. He played in the 1860s and was the first MLB player ever to use a glove. He was the catcher. I have a couple scribbles here.
I bet he was.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time reading my handwriting. So at number 20, I'm going to throw the interesting. He should more be special consideration, but I just thought that was funny. And so he's going to be my number 20.
That's a good pick, somewhere to find a guy like that. I never heard of him. I'll have to do some research on him.
It's just the wiki pages,
But the first guy to wear a glove, them guys must have thought he was soft.
Yeah, he probably was a big pussy then.
And Adam's number 20. I ain't put nobody on my list I can post up.
Damn.
Nobody I can beat in basketball is going to have men. Anyway, my number 20.
She has the credentials.
I'm going with a guy who boxed back in the 90s, Philadelphia born. Now, remember, I'm doing the Philly born too. I don't know. I didn't check the birth certificates or not. I'm putting who the internet says born in Philly.
Here.
Right.
So, this guy knows born in Philly. His name's David Reed. He was a boxer in the 90s. He Olympic gold medalist. Also was a middleweight champion. He had to retire young because of a retina problem. But you're going to see on my list, I like to get guys that were either Olympians or nationals, played international ball. So, but David Reed, 19 fights, 17 wins, 2 losses. It was really, really, when I was growing up watching boxing, I thought it was going to be one of the best ever, but obviously the injuries slowed.
Did you say what weight?
He was a middleweight.
Oh, okay.
I I think he won the gold medal. Actually, I'm looking at it now. He won the gold medal light middleweight in Atlanta in '96, which might have been the same one that Kurt Angle won the gold medal, right? Did he win the
Yeah, I
gold
think it
medal?
was
Oh,
around
really?
there, yeah.
He won the boxing gold medal. So I'm going with David Reed.
Damn.
Nice.
And I'm only kidding about Dawn Staley. She's amazing.
And is he in the Boxing Hall of Fame?
I don't believe he's in the Boxing Hall of Fame.
I heard a name recently. It was a Spanish name. I think he was from Philadelphia. And same thing. He won a gold medal, and then he had one of the belts for a while. I had no idea who this guy was. And here he was in the Boxing Hall of Fame and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Oh, yeah, I know.
don't do
I
that
freaking
before.
my memory's shot anymore. But I guess I'll go to my number. You want to do your number? I'll do number 19. And then we'll go to Bones. My number 19 is a modern NBA player, just Markieff Morris. Played at Prep Charter, I believe. I know. My high school played against them. They said they put the one Morris up top, the other guy in the paint. No one shot over these guys. They dominated.
Played at Newman for a year, too.
Young. And if
Freshman
anyone
year,
remembers the situation with them, they were supposed to go play at Kansas with John Calipari. I think Calipari left. No, they were supposed to go play at Memphis with John Calipari.
Yeah.
I think Calipari left for Kentucky. They both end up going to Kansas, which is, I mean, talk about that might be 1A, 1B in programs the last 20 years or so. I'm not sure. I wish I had their production in the. I'm sure they won 3 or 4 Big 12 titles. I'm unsure what they did in the actual postseason in the tournament. But now, I mean, they're both going on, I think, like 10-year NBA careers.
So did you pick them
Markieff.
both, or did you have?
Yeah, I'm picking both 19 and 18.
Oh,
So-
okay. They're 19 and 18. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to do the twin brothers, and then I'm looking at my list, and I had a name on here twice, so I had to fill it out.
Perfect.
So
I
my
think
number
both are good.
19, he didn't do anything in the NBA because he never made it that far, but he's a Dobbins Tech grad, and it's Hank Gathers, who's the
Ooh.
West Coast Conference Player of the Year in 1989 with Loyola Marymount. Tragically passed away in 1990, 8 months before me and Slim were even born.
I watched all them games. I watched Bo Kimball shoot with the left hand. I was into it big time. Hank Gathers was a bad man. He would have been a heck of a player, I think, if he wasn't taken so soon. It's a good pick.
Yeah, that makes me jealous. I don't have him. I don't know how I overlooked not having Hank Gathers on my list. And I think there's currently a Hulu series based about public school basketball that revolves around the Hank Gathers Center and Hank Gathers himself somehow. I forget. I didn't see it yet, but someone has referred to me to watch this Hank Gathers themed basketball miniseries that I think's on Hulu.
No, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out. Watching him die on the court was probably one of the more surreal things as a
Wow.
14 or 15-year-old that I was watching that. When you're so into hoops and you see a young guy larger than life and big, strong, all this, and then
So what happened? Did he fall? I can't because
he either made a layup or he got a rebound or something on the end of the
He
court.
went
He got
straight
it,
down?
and then as he started walking down the other end of the court, he just collapsed right about the free throw line.
because
if
I
remember
saw
correctly.
because they play up speed, right? Who was their coach? The dude that he ended up going to.
Yeah, it was it Paul Dunleavy? Was it
Paul Westhead?
Paul
Or,
Westhead?
Yeah,
Westfall.
Westfall. Yeah.
So, yeah, they played that up
Guru
tempo
of
style.
God, right? Was that him?
What's that?
Is that the 30 for 30, the Guru of Go?
Bingo. Yep. It's a great 30 for 30. That's all about the up tempo style that Paul Westfall. He did it with Hank Gathers and Kimball, and then I think eventually he ends up on the Lakers, on the Showtime Lakers, right before
Yeah.
Phil Riley replaces him. Something
Pat
like
Riley?
that.
Phil Jackson.
Pat Riley.
Oh.
A lot of P's. Phil. There's 2 cup. Yeah.
He was definitely there. I don't know how long. Might have been a cup of coffee, but he was definitely in LA for
Right.
a couple of years. They pulled off. They won a couple games in that tournament too. Even after he passed away, Bo beat at least one team, I think, in the first round. I don't know if they lost in the second. Whoever they lost to was a solid team. I wish I had more information. If I'd have known beforehand, I would have remembered it and looked it up a little bit. But that was a really good tournament that year with them, and that was a shame.
Yeah. How many free throws did Bo Kimball actually have? That's great. And they just kept playing?
That wasn't in the actual tournament. That was either in the lead up tournament in their own little conference tournament, but that team kept playing. Yeah, after that.
Gotcha. Right. That's amazing.
My turn for number 19.
Yep.
This one hurts me to put down, but I wanted to put him at 19. He probably, in my opinion, should be higher. But Eric Williams, the offensive lineman for the Cowboys. I think he went to Bartram also, right?
See, I don't know who Eric Williams is. Is he one of those classic 90s linemen?
Yeah, he played with Nate Newton and in front of Emmett and
Damn, that's awesome.
Emmett and Michael Irvin and Aikman. So he was, I think, let me get some of his statistics here. He was with the Cowboys from 91 to 2000. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler, 93, 96, 97, 99. Won 3 Super Bowls, was 3-time first-team All-Pro.
Wow.
93, 95, and 96. Everybody always says Emmett Smith isn't, the best running back ever, and that's debatable, whatever, arguable. But what's not arguable is they had a great offensive line, and part of that great offensive line was Eric Williams. And even though I hate the Cowboys and I hate everything about them, I thought he should be on this list just because of some of the statistics I just ran off.
Yeah, Super Bowl champion, has the All-Pros. That's amazing.
3 times, yeah.
And Emmitt Smith, he's the all-time leading rusher.
Yeah, rusher, all-time.
So that's the biggest
scorer, Russian.
Right.
That's mine.
Who you got, Bones?
My number 18 is Cardinal Doherty grad. Before he transferred, Catino the Cat Mobley.
No way.
Did he transfer a Cat?
Yeah, he transferred before. I think it was like his junior year to
Really?
like one of them prep schools.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought he stayed there.
And he averaged 16 points over a 10-year career in the NBA before he retired due to the same issues that Hank Gathers had.
Really? He played in the – he had how many points did he average?
16.
Wow, that's surprising. I would have never had got that.
And he played with a fun little Rockets team with Stevie Franchise. And I guess he played with McGrady and Yao Ming, too.
Yeah.
I remember Coutinho Mobley and Steve Francis playing together for sure.
He's back dominating the Big 3 League or whatever it's called.
That's the
Ice
funniest
Cube
part.
League.
That's
It looks like he's about 90.
Yeah, that's the best part about it is he's still playing basketball right now. He's like heavy set, posting dudes up.
I seen him with gray hair, like gray beard and
dude,
everything
yeah.
else. I think
Looks like Ed Reed.
he may have been playing when Jimmy was a junior. Jimmy Logan, he might have been around the same time as when Jimmy was playing. Cat might have been at Docker.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I'm not exactly sure. I just remember him leading the league in scoring. I think he led the Catholic League in scoring, and he beat Jimmy by a couple points. And I could be wrong about that. I might be totally making up, but
Really?
I thought I remember that. That was a long time ago, though.
I'll have to ask Jimmy tomorrow in work. He definitely knows.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? My number 17 is actually Coutinho Mobley. So we can go straight back to Bones for wherever we're at.
Well, that was 18. So, White, you got to do your 18.
My 18. This is a guy I actually met a few times. He St. Anne's, attended St. Anne's for a little bit. Wrestled under the name Stevie Richards. He's a professional wrestler, and he wrestled all over the world. ECW in Philly, WWE. Guy did it for a long time. He also won the $1 million. What's the baseball game that you do on the internet or on the computer? The games. Yeah, pitching no hitter.
Like
You
the
got
top-
$1 million.
As a baseball game, I know the Top Golf.
No, this is a baseball game. If you pitch a no hitter, you get the you.
Well, like 2K, where you got to like
MLB
videotape it.
2K11. He pitched the perfect game, but he did it the day before the official thing of it, so they never gave him the $1 million.
No way.
Yeah, they jerked him right off. But
That's
still,
amazing.
he still comes down to the MDG Italian Festival. He's made a lot of money. He did a lot of good, won a lot of belts. I'm always going to put the pro wrestlers on there, you know that. And since he's local, Philly, not even just Philly, I mean, Port Richmond, Stevie Richards came in at number 18 for me.
Who's the old school nut from ECW? Sandman. Did he wrestle the same? Not Sandman. Who's the guy that used to chug the beer?
Sandman.
Sandman, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's a maniac. He would have been on my list. He moved to Philadelphia, but he was actually born, I think, in Utah.
That's what I saw. He moved here. But, yeah, that dude, he's a classic character.
And that's not a character. That's him. I was in Drinkers, drinking beer with him. He was slugging down rum and Cokes. Like,
yeah, he had him, Tommy Dreamer, with the 2x4s and Genzo sticks.
Yep.
Yeah, those were classic.
His ass. Yeah, that was a good time for wrestling for me.
Yeah, I was young, but I remember I had older cousins that would put that shit on. And
I went down there a few times.
Because I watched, as a kid, I used to watch WWF and WWE, and that would give me plenty hype. But then my older cousin, it would be like a Friday night, and they would just put on friggin' ECW, and I'd be like, what the fuck is happening?
Drinking beers, titties are out.
Yeah.
And the fans are fucking fighting with everybody. Yeah, it was
And here's a fun fact about Philadelphia. If anyone's ever seen the classic wrestling ring with all the chairs being thrown in it, there's like thousands of chairs.
Terry Funk.
That happened in Philadelphia, and there were people. There was like 2 or 3 guys underneath all those fucking chairs.
Yeah, Terry Funk, and I think it might have
Terry
been
Funk.
Cactus Jack. They were both in the ring.
And that happened in Philly.
Yeah,
And
that happened in Philly. Yep, I didn't know that.
You can hear the announcer say, "Please stop throwing chairs," and then after that, you just hear pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, 50 more come in once you say don't do it no more.
Yeah, you can't help these fucking people in this city, so
No.
no one should come in without.
That was 95,
Come here
96.
Assume
Nothing
risks.
changed.
Yeah. There's even more assume risks now coming into the city.
No kidding.
Unless you get the fuck out. Unless you stay home quarantine, then you're good.
So your
Okay,
number
okay.
17 was Catino Mobley, right, Chris?
Right.
No, that was
So
17? All right.
Yeah, we're on 17 now. So my number 17 is also a Cardinal Doherty grad. He's a Villanova grad, 6-time NBA All-Star, NBA champion, gold medalist, Kyle Lowry,
Oh.
number 17.
Funny thing about Lowry is, like, we started this podcast 3 years ago, and we debated Iguodala's status as a all-time tier player where he falls. And now people automatically have Kyle Lowry written into the Hall of Fame due to the championship.
Yeah.
These championships, I mean, I love Kyle Lowry. So, same thing. I was in 8th grade. I went to go watch him play what will become my high school in basketball. He was great. Always got to the paint. It's always his decision to lay it up or kick it out for an open three. All his teammates had open threes. He won as a sophomore at Gratz, and then he won again the Catholic League at Doherty. So
He didn't win at
that's
Doherty.
always. He didn't win at Doherty?
Nah,
You sure?
positive.
I thought he had a public league and a Catholic League title.
No. Velton Jones.
It's both.
Did
One
it.
in North and where did
And
it go?
Gratz.
Gratz
They
and
both
North?
did it.
No, he didn't.
All right,
In
well,
the
wait a minute,
2000s,
wait.
in the
Two-
2000s, it was like a 15-year stretch that it was either Newman or Roman that won the title. Nobody else. North was the first team to do it in the 2000s.
I'll bet you a chug on the next episode or something. I'll say
You
Doherty.
got that, guy. I'm down
Okay.
for that.
Sounds good.
Because the only other person that won a title, publicly Catholic title before that, I think, was Billy Shank.
You got a public league
Can you
title?
attest to that?
FLC, they won it. Was he on the team that won that one with FLC with Tyrone Weeks and them? He very well could have been. He was
I
good.
think
He
so.
probably was. And then who did he win with? With the Catholic
I think he was
League?
at Roman.
Did he go to Roman after that and win one?
Yeah, I think he was at Roman. I don't know if he played, but like much time, but I think he was on that.
I mean, if he was on the team, he was probably getting time because he was that good. Billy was that good. He could play with all those guys.
All right.
My 17?
Yeah, boy.
Yes, sir.
My number 17 is a guy I also met in the Chug-a-Mug. Guy went 15 rounds with the greatest heavyweight of all time, at least arguably the greatest, Muhammad Ali. This guy also fought and beat George Foreman. He, I believe, beat Ken Norton. Ron Lyle, this guy had a career at 57 total fights as a heavyweight, 35 wins, 18 losses. Also changed the cigarette machines at the Chug-a-Mug and almost had to beat up one of our local patrons. Jimmy Young, guy had hands the size of they were cement bricks. I mean, you don't understand what a boxer looks like until you actually meet a boxer, and Jimmy Young looked like a boxer, and anybody that can go in there and beat the guys that he beat and compete at that level is a guy I'm putting on my list, especially in the sport I love. So Jimmy Young gets my number 17.
Nice, and that's a guy I didn't know anything about till Memorial Day weekend when we were all hanging out, and pretty much the little history lesson you just gave right there was the same I got, which is pretty cool. You know, fighting George Foreman. George Foreman, you said you don't understand what a heavyweight looks like. He was the heaviest of the heavyweights, you know. This dude was just from what I understand, he was the guy that was literally just fucking just pounding the bag as hard as he fucking can.
When he beat Joe Frazier the way he beat Joe Frazier, and Joe Frazier will end up on my list a little. No, he will not because he was from South Carolina, so I had to leave Joe off like we said earlier. But Joe Frazier would have been one of the top 3 spots on my list because I'm a huge Joe Frazier fan. But George Foreman beat him senseless.
Yeah, Joe. It's a shame. Like I said, 94 won to that list, and Joe Frazier didn't make it, which is like fucking unreal because he's an animal, that too.
Joe Frazier won the most important and the only fight that matters, in my opinion, in the Muhammad Ali trilogy. Joe Frazier beat him up in the biggest fight in the history of all boxing. Probably it was the first.
I got to see that's on YouTube and watch that. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
I got to go back and watch.
Built up when Ali told him he's in the ring with God. And he said, well, God, you're in the wrong spot tonight because Joe was in no mood that night. And he battered Muhammad Ali all over the place. But Jimmy Young beat the guy that beat Joe Frazier.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Also a very nice man. So God rest his soul.
Yeah, Chris.
What number are we going here? Okay, number
16.
I got an Overbrook graduate. I'm basketball heavy for now, but
damn, Will.
He has Sixers connections, and he played in the Colonial the last time Drexel won it. I'm taking Malik Rose. He's an NBA champion,
nice.
And I always enjoy Drexel basketball as much as the other 5 schools in Philadelphia. I always say the Philly the +1, and they haven't been back to a tournament since. And it's been about.
Did he just get a GM job?
Yeah, he's now with the Atlantic Hawks. So I love him as an announcer. I thought he was kind of goofy, kind of funny. And he's the guy that drafted Trae Young and traded Luka Doncic. So let's see if that works out for him.
You ain't going to get an argument from me with him. I love watching him play. Guy not big enough, not fast enough, nothing enough to be able to play even at Drexel, and ends up in the NBA for how long?
Playing with Greg Popovich as Duncan's backup for about 8-10 years.
Yeah, at 6'6" or so. Yeah, that's a guy I definitely have no argument from me on that guy.
He had a season where he was getting like 12 or 14 off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good with the Sixers as the announcer. He was there before Allah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the man too. But.
Yeah, I like Allah Dobby. He's great.
My number 16 is Simon Gratz guy. He was high school player of the year. Moved on to North Carolina. His top 5 pick. Won an NBA title with the Detroit Pistons. Another 14-6 guy. And then he led the NBA history in technical fouls with 317. That's Rasheed Wallace.
Kind of guy I like.
Damn. He's all-time technical foul leader. That's a goodie.
By a landslide.
Okay.
Another guy you're arguing with.
So he played with another guy who may be on a couple of our lists. He played with Aaron McKee growing up. So, and there's a great story. We had a disciplinary in North Catholic. We're all North grads. Koshnick told – you ever hear the whole Koshnick story with Rasheed Wallace?
No, I didn't hear that.
So Koshnick, like maybe the whole time I'm at North for 4 years, he maybe showed like a little bit of personality 3 or 5 times. He did a fist pump like bullshit.
Yeah. This
time he told us that fucking there was gangs infiltrating Philadelphia and like we got to watch out. And that he remembers coaching. He was at a basketball camp coaching in North Philly, and there was a guy that couldn't catch a ball, and he just kept winging it out until he started catching it. He told us that kid grew up to be Rasheed Wallace.
That That was Rashid like Walton, and he just made that.
I know. I remember everyone on the altar was like, "What the fuck? Is that like? Are you serious? What kind of story is that?" But yeah, Rasheed Wallace is great. He was honestly a prototype for your stretch fours now.
Yeah.
Like if Ben Simmons played like Rasheed Wallace as a young Rasheed Wallace with the shooting and stuff, would be better off. He was fast. He could get up down floor, and he stretched the floor, and he was tough. He was tough.
Played both sides of the ball. Exactly 6'10" at the time, maybe 6'11", shooting three.
Yeah, and he was that big. Yeah, he was big.
A big guy. And yeah, he played defense. He played offense. He's a guy I should have had on my list. I feel bad that I left him off.
He didn't take no shit from nobody.
No, yeah, and he could whip some ass. You got a guy like him on the bench in case shit goes down later. You're all right. But yeah, I enjoyed watching him play all through high school. I was hoping he stayed local anywhere but Villanova. But yeah, him going to North Carolina, doing what he did, and then coming to the NBA and going into Detroit and winning, I guess, cemented him again with the championship. So
there's some guys you didn't get to see play in high school. Like me and Bones were obviously way too young. You said he was great when you saw him?
Yeah, well, he played against the FLC guys, Tyrone Weeks, Farron Meatball Hand. Who else? There, not sure. One of the other. There was another one that had a great kid out there playing at the same time too. But he was all by himself. I'm trying to think, but also Arthur Davis, I think, was playing back then. And who's the other kid that went to Donnie? He went to Roman.
Carr.
Donnie Carr. They were right around the same time as them. These guys might have been a little bit older, but I know the FLC Gratz was the big rivalry then. It was Meatball Hand and Weeks playing against Rashid. And Rashid had Sean Red Smith on that team, who was about 5'8", point guard. He had red hair, light skin.
Yeah.
He was dynamic. Was Leonard Stewart on that team? I don't know. That Gratz team was stacked too. And
funny. Was it yesterday that guy was doing the pizza review? That dude, Adamo, the Roman guy.
Yeah.
And he had Mark Jackson on there, down in Manayunk. I forget what the place was called. They have like a square pie or whatever. He was saying how he worked there, and he brought up, I guess it was senior year, how they played North in the championship. And like back then, it was like the public league and Catholic league were like basically like even.
Yeah, well, that's what Roman was around back then. That's why it was even.
And they said they actually brought up North when they played them in the championship. They all thought they were going to roll over because they had Mark Jackson and a couple other guys that were going D1, and Roman was just a bunch of nobodies.
Roman were the athletes. North had the nobodies.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. But,
North was a bunch of nobodies.
Back-to-back years they played, actually.
They took an overtime.
Yeah, and Harvey took the last shot. We always break the balls. I said Matty Comey should have taken it. And
he probably should, right? Joe can't. That seems like I know Joe Harvey as a referee when I played, and
he was a hell of a ball player, though, bro.
I heard he was really good, but going by his attitude, it doesn't shock me that he kept the ball, even if he was a usually smart point guard. I'm guessing he was the point guard.
Yeah, he was point guard. Matty played on the wing. They had just a team that played together really well, and I know I was always joking. When you get out there and that's going on, it's a lot different. But Joey was another one played in grade school.
If you got the ball, you can be the hero. You want to shoot it.
Yeah, you know? And I even get the story a little bit mixed up because I probably even have it wrong. I've probably been breaking his balls for 26 years incorrectly, but that's the way it goes. But yeah, that was, and then they played again the next year when I was a senior. They both my junior and senior year. North played Roman both years, and they were both really, really good games. North was winning, I believe, at halftime both times. I know my year they were winning at halftime. Roman came back and beat the '94 team relatively easily, but at the end. But they were two real, and for North to be able to play with them guys at all was just amazing. If you would have seen both teams warming up, you would have thought it was over 5 minutes into the game. But the '93 team had Mark Chuck Cunningham on it. That's the only reason they stayed around. Where are we at? What am I up?
Chris is up with number 15. Wait, did you go, White?
I didn't do 15 yet, but I think I go last.
No, did you go 16?
Yeah, I did 16.
I'll do 15. My number 15 is the Roman Catholic grad, Eddie Griffith. I can't even say it, but he was named Player of the Year. I'm not sure how many people outside a select few in Philadelphia have been named National Parade Player of the Year. Went to Seton Hall. Pretty sure he got first team All-American. He had moody issues, and he ended up dying tragically. They say he had struggles with alcoholism, etc., which is terrible. Even with all that said, he slipped. He was drafted number 7 overall. So they knew that he had issues from high school. He had issues.
He was suspended his whole senior, like the last part of his senior year.
Yeah, he got kicked out of. He had to finish school.
Fighting over a car game.
Is that what it was?
That his senior year in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he got suspended again his freshman year in college.
Then he got suspended again his freshman year.
Remember, he punched the shit out of the point guard.
But what's funny, he fought another teammate. Both incidents were with a teammate. High school, freshman year, but even freshman year, he was freshman of the year, and he still gets drafted in the top 10. So these teams are taking a risk on him. They knew that tells you how much talent he had, but it also shows you how little. Because listen, this guy was at a big school. Seton Hall is a big Northeastern school. It's a public school or whatever the hell it is. And then he's with the Rockets, which is a friggin' major organization. And they couldn't help this guy. They couldn't find this guy to help, and it seems like there's more and more of that. It reminds you of like the struggles we saw with Roy Halladay after he retired. He only played Roy Halladay played 2 or 3 seasons with the Phillies.
Yeah, something like that.
And his struggle was the same thing. You think there would be. They had the best doctors in the world, but it's
one of the good things about now is the culture's changed so much that kind of stuff could be dealt with a lot easier, I think, than it was then. A lot of times then it was still hide it, pretend it's not happening, enable
and especially if it's boozing, because if you're boozing, that's the easiest way to hide it.
Right. But I think he had psychological issues on top of everything. I think he would have probably been worked through with a counselor and all, but then they just didn't do that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a shame, and that's one of the good things about the changing and getting, just
another guy. He's another guy like Rasheed Wallace. He was around 6'9", 6'10", could shoot the 3. He was honestly maybe not as fast as Wallace and not as rugged, but maybe a slightly more finesse.
Yeah, he probably had a little bit more athleticism outside, than Rob, but he never really wouldn't defend like Rasheed, but he was still phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like he belongs on any list too.
Chris, do you know the high school team maybe he was fighting with? Guy went to Niagara?
It would be New McGrady. What? He didn't fight DJ Rivera.
No shit. He fought somebody in high school. That's why he got suspended. We just talked about it.
He fought one of his teammates.
Yeah.
His name was Shine.
That was a Ty Shine he fought at Seton Hall, I think.
Was it? Okay.
The Roman guy was Sharon Fisher.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Sharon Fisher put up a lot of points at Niagara.
He played football at Roman, too.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a good pull.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Damn. Okay, who's up next?
So my number 15 is he's a local guy, Flatiron guy. He's in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame in 1995. And he's credited with 1,000 wins, 150 no-hitters, 10,000 strikeouts, and 9 Central Atlantic titles. None other than George Ulmer.
Oh.
Softball.
Big George.
Softball.
150 no-hitters.
I mean, we can only talk about the stories, but before I met before I ever met an Elmer, my dad, I was 8 years old, and he'd be slugging down the brewskis and would sit and tell me the stories about George Elmer playing the king in his court. And George he said he would have a ball that would hit the ground and shoot up. It was about an inch off the ground and come up. Like he would throw a softball like nobody else in the world at the time.
They said his rise and his drop ball were like no other.
Yeah, and he could hit the ball. He was a big monster of a guy. He was the story, he's like a legend. Obviously, in the neighborhood, he's a legend. But I heard people on talk shows talking about him that aren't from the neighborhood. He's legitimate. And I know he played out in Australia, and he traveled all over the world to play softball. And like I said, that King in the Court, if you ever Google them, they were amazing team. I think he only played with 4 or 5 guys, or maybe him and 3 other guys, but they would play against the George and the Flatiron guys. And for him to be able to compete against a guy like that, just awesome. They even beat the Court a couple times, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you ever hear the one time where Heppy caught him and he hit him Heppy didn't wear a cup and he got him in the nuts?
No, I wish they had video of that back then. I would love to hear the tirade. You motherfucking fuck. Cocksucking no good motherfucker.
He would have been a boy happy.
Uh,
Right? He's at least a decade younger than George.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
That was probably a teenager when George was in his 20s.
Yeah.
Catching that, I wouldn't be catching. No way. Hingy, I think, was the catcher. I don't know if it was Eddie Hingy, but his pinkies are like bent like this just from catching him all the time.
Yikes.
Forget that, man.
Yeah, and you can find newspaper stories and stuff on George Yomer. And like I said, he's in the Philadelphia Hall of Fame. So
I was privileged enough to be at his Hall of Fame ceremony.
No way. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. And
damn, that's cool.
was it a restaurant and all? It wasn't like, at a big auditorium and all, but it was super cool. And there was a couple other older guys there. And obviously I was younger at this time. When did you say he was 95?
95, yeah.
Yeah, so I was only 20 years old. So, but it was awesome. It was great to be there. And it's one of my highlights that I got to be part of.
What was that? So do you know how he said he won how many, like, Atlantic Coastal League things or something, Bones? Who were they?
They would go up and down, like, different tournaments.
State? Yeah, okay.
Like, along the East Coast.
Yeah, just a little East Coast League. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think they would win and you could go on to other.
Yeah, where they'd go national.
Yeah.
Where was the home field at that point? Where were they playing at?
Did they play Flatiron? I don't even know.
They played at, like, different spots. I think, like, the league they're in, I think that's where they played. Like
Gotcha.
Max Meyer or something like that.
Right, that makes
They
sense.
would play there, like whoever like ran the league or something like that, I think.
There you go. Pretty impressive. I'd like to have been around to be able to just see a couple of those games. Cast of characters hanging around with the team too, you know what I mean? Coming with coolers of beer. I'm sure there's a few Shebisheskis watching them games.
Yeah, that'd be a good Saturday, Sunday gig.
Damn right.
During the summer.
Chest full of beer.
Are we back to me yet, or are we you both?
I didn't do my 15. Did you guys both do 15?
Yeah, you're up, boy.
And I'm up at 15. The guy we mentioned earlier. Good human being, good person. Played in the NBA for, it has to be at least over a decade. Temple graduate, Simon Gratz. Coach at Temple right now, Aaron McKee.
Damn.
I mean, what can we say about him? I know he's the sixth man of the year. He's played for 4 or 5 teams in the NBA, hung around all the time. Always great on both ends of the floor. Was a coach while he was playing. Great guy on top of everything.
Wasn't for him, I'd probably be dead.
Yeah, who knows? What are you doing?
Getting the Suns.
What are you doing?
Yeah, he's a true Philadelphia.
Yeah, there we go. One of
these guys are, but McKee, he's still around. Grew up in North Philly, like around the Oak Lane area, whatnot. And he just did an interview again, I think, either with Howard Eskin or Ray Dininger, one of these guys. And it's great just hearing him talk about the leagues and how he talks about the rec centers and how they were so involved in the rec centers, and that's how he learned everything. He learned to swim there. He learned to shoot pool there. He learned to play basketball there. He learned to play football there. And, yeah, it was just great to hear. And then
I wish there was more of that stuff around now. Sorry.
I know. It's crazy. We need the leagues going. You need neighborhoods playing each other. Like, even with swim meets. With all the pools being closed this summer in the city, it's a joke. Like, how can you have pools closed? We're in a fucking heat wave that's 7 days long. It's going to go to 10, who knows how long. And they don't even have the pools open.
You want to stick kids in their house. You're leaving them in their house. You're just sticking them.
Exactly. You ain't hurting me and you. We can find it. We can fucking, you're hurting the kids.
Find something to do.
Something, right? Yeah, you're hurting little kids that have nothing to do.
No. And you're talking to.
And they don't have air conditioners. Some people, we can sit in the AC. And they act like it's fucking March.
and not caring. Drink a couple
Yeah,
of these.
keep
And
going.
I'm
Yeah,
a
exactly.
city champion swimmer, just for the record. Let's not
All right.
forget that. I might have made this list if you guys watched me swim back in the day
Damn, I like that, White.
with
You must
a
have been
couple
moving
Adams
fast.
family members. Tommy Barnes. I first learned to wear a Speedo with Yit swimming in the for the St. Anne's swim team.
You learned to wear a Speedo?
I had to reduce the drag, you know what I mean? I'm in there.
I mean, just put it on.
I put about, listen, you don't just put on a Speedo. You learn to wear a Speedo, my friend.
I've only ever wore Speedos.
You only wear Speedo?
Yeah.
I'm interested.
No, I never put one. No, actually, I never put one on. You're right.
saying,
Thank God.
Yeah,
bro.
Thank God.
I'm into it. I don't know. I want to see it. I'm a curious guy. But
I'm
yeah,
like,
you're
what?
right. And Aaron swimming, I didn't even know we could put it swimming on the wire thing for the reason he makes our list. But yeah, Aaron, I would definitely have him. His high school career was amazing. He played right around that same time with all those guys too.
Yeah.
And then his college career with Eddie. They went that run. They lost to North Carolina, I think, in the Sweet 16 the one year. They had a really good team. I think Rick Brunson held them down. But
Really?
That's another story, right, White?
yeah, I'm not a fan of Brunson.
This
but,
is that Rick Brunson, was it just personal beef that held him down?
He's perfect beefs with me. Yeah, I said
Yeah. Yeah. He's okay.
creep. But
See, you go back with people, man. So we never got involved.
oh no, man! I used to go down to Temple Springs.
By my time, by our time, they thought they were celebrities.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, Eddie and Aaron were celebrities. Rick Brunson just some idiot that played on the team.
Played on the team, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
He actually had a very nice career. He's coaching now. I can't really knock Rick, but he's not the nicest of the guys. And
Well, he got me too. So if you feel that bad, you should be happy because he got me too. I think twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to move jobs twice.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I'm not a good guy. Just saying.
He was going. That's his son was Corey Brunson, right? No, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, he's
One
a
of the
player. He's
best
still in the
guys
NBA. Playing with Dallas now.
Yeah, well, he's only in his third year.
Oh, okay.
But so his dad was at Temple. Jalen was going to go to Temple. Incident happened, and then I think the Mavs hired his dad or something. And an incident
Timberwolves, right?
The Timberwolves, okay. So he wasn't with the Mavs. So, hey, I mean, hopefully everything he's accused of is true, so we can call him a jitbag. And if it's not true, that sucks. But
Well, I think he's a jitbag, and guess what?
Either
That was
way.
again 27 years ago, and ish, 25, whatever it was, and that's just my personal thing. But he's Jalen Brunson. I mean, Jalen's a great player, and Rick was actually a really good player when they were from Temple teams.
so my number 14, and just to move it up real fast, is Jimmy Young. What he talked about him before. This guy, he what do you say? He beat Joe Frazier, or he beat George Foreman, or went 12
George
rounds?
Foreman. He beat George
He beat
Foreman.
George
Went
Foreman, which
15
is-
with Muhammad Ali.
What year was that?
1973.
Because Foreman, he fought for like 30 years.
Yeah, Foreman. I think he beat Foreman later. I think Foreman might have been 75 or 76.
Man, that's
I think
still
he
crazy.
fought Ali in 73, and I could be wrong a year or so on these ones. But
So yeah,
he fought Ken Norton. I mean, he fought them all.
Ted
He-
Norton champion. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he lost. I think I said earlier maybe he beat Norton, but I think he lost
Unreal.
a decision to Norton. He lost a disputed fight to Ali. I mean, most people will say Ali won, but there are people out there that say Jimmy Young got a kind of a raw judge card on that one.
right. I'm sure he did. You're fighting bias there. So yeah, that's my number 14. Who you got, Bones?
My number 14, Eddie George, went to Ohio State, won the Heisman Trophy, 3,800 career rushing yards at Ohio State, and went on to get 10,441 in the NFL. 4-time Pro Bowl, Rookie of the Year. He was born here. He didn't like go to high school or nothing here. Wind up moving away young, but it's about being born here, not
I was one of my biggest surprises when I looked up Philly-born athletes for this, and I seen that Eddie George was born in Philly. I had no idea, and he'll show up on my list down a little bit higher. But yeah, I mean, how can you argue with Eddie George's statistics, what he's done, what he accomplished in college and in the in the NFL? So I mean, you just rattled off his numbers. There's not really much more you have to say than that.
half a yard away from a Super Bowl.
Yeah, what a crazy game that was, too. I was whacked out when that Super Bowl was happening. I think it started snowing in the middle of that in Philly while that game was going on. I remember being at Doc's place. I lived right 2 houses down from there, but we came over there. We went to the Chug back to there, pounding fucking beers, making an asshole out of myself. It was a good time.
Jimmy Young stopped in.
Jimmy Young changed the fucking cigarette machines. He got a new pack of Pall Malls in there for everybody.
That's funny.
Who you got at? What are we at? 14? What do you got, Slim?
Mine was Jimmy Young. So you're
you
up
had
there.
Young and you had Eddie George. Am I up?
Yep.
I got a guy now. I never got to watch this guy play, obviously. I don't even think my dad might not have got to watch this guy play, but in doing my research, seeing a guy like this, played in the NBA for a long time, NCAA, Tom Gola. Tom Gola was in Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 1966. He was inducted. He played from, let me look this up here, 1951 to 1955 at LaSalle. He got selected by the Philadelphia Warriors. He was an NBA champion in 56, 5-time NBA All-Star, All-NBA second team 58. He won the NCAA championship in 54. He was the NCAA Final Four MOP, which I guess was most outstanding player back then. I don't know if they still have it that. He won the NIT championship. The guy just has a lot of statistics here. Accomplishments. His statistics were solid in the NBA too. 11 points, 8 rebounds at a time when people weren't scoring like that either.
And again, I think he was a dude who had a frame that was ahead of his time, right? He was a big guy.
Yeah.
There was no perimeter back then, but he was definitely driving. If you listen to these, he's one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. He's top. I mean, there's people that will probably argue for him to be top 10, top 20 greatest of all time for sure. Top 100 greatest, no doubt about it. But he's probably, I would say, top 20-ish. If you get actual basketball historians in here, you know, the guys that aren't going to count fucking Michael Beasley, those because he's fucking AAU. These programs to recruit these highly talented freshmen, let them do whatever they want, get them drafted. I mean, that was not a thing back then. They actually played basketball to win the games. And Tom Gola was great. Like you said, Naismith player. Did he win a national championship there? I believe he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won an NIT championship, a national championship, an NBA championship.
And that's at a Jesuit school. So we know how good Gonzaga is. And they have never been able to go over the hump. This guy took a team that would be even smaller than Gonzaga or at least similar to a Gonzaga type. Definitely not the prestige, maybe a little bit closer back then. But again, National Player of the Year won the title. So for those people who like Adam Morrison or those guys like back in the day, they weren't ever able to take a small-time school and win a title. Like this school, I would even say is smaller than like a Memphis or something.
Yeah,
like
even smaller, I would say. I mean, and they won that. And I don't know how things changed since then, but I mean, they're the fringe Division I. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
And he's actually one of only 2 players. I think we should try and look it up. One of 2 players to win the NCAA, NIT, and NBA championships, according to
right.
So I'd like to see who the second guy is.
2,201 rebounds in college. Still a record.
Gola?
Yeah.
Again, I don't think anybody's name that isn't a person that could be on anybody's top 20. My list, I got to be perfectly honest. I would, if I did it 20 times, I'd probably have 20 different.
Yeah, same.
I would name different guys. So I mean, all are people. These a guy like him, I think should be on most lists though.
As we go through, I'm writing down the best stats, and at the end we can decide what stats the most impressive. So far, I have Gola's 2,000 college rebounds and George Olmer's 150 no-hitters.
2 really, really impressive things.
Okay, so I'm up. My number 13, and this is probably more style than substance, is Joe Jellybean Bryant, just like his name. He was, again, another LaSalle grad. He was what we would be calling now a top 15 pick, a lottery pick. Was traded on draft day from Golden State to Philadelphia. Stats are underwhelming. He's most famous for giving birth to, not giving birth,
Dang, really?
yeah, to well, he's the
Get birth
father.
out of his balls.
He's the father of Kobe Bryant. And he actually played for a long time. He was drafted in 78, 79-ish, and he ended up, one of these guys played about 10 to 13 years in the NBA. Then he went overseas and played for a few teams. Kobe Bryant actually talks about the experience he had with his dad overseas in Italy and whatnot, and how much of an influence that was on him. And then his dad continued to coach overseas for, like, there was no break from him playing basketball. He played through the 70s, ended up retiring in the 90s, and then coached from the 90s to, I think, very recently. So, and he's most famous, looks like, for on opening night, they played the Lakers, the Sixers, and he scored 44 points and dunked on top 5 player of all time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and probably the best college basketball player of all time.
That's impressive. Hey, anybody that gave birth to Kobe Bryant deserves to be on this list.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, but honestly, anybody the guy who put Kobe Bryant into a basketball and gave us that's a top 20 guy right there.
Right.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
My number 13 is
He was hitting it right that night.
nothing special. North Catholic Rad, the Underground King, UFC champ. When he defeated Rafael Dos Santos or Dos Anjos, whatever the hell his name is.
The second
Eddie
best fight
Alvarez.
I watched that night. That was the second best fight I watched that night.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Two girls
Good
fought
story.
and mixed. It was amazing.
July 7th. Remember, Chris? We're at my house.
I
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I remember
2016.
we had it streaming.
Yep.
What do you mean? What do you mean though? Would you say? How did you start this off as about Eddie? Not that big a deal.
I said that.
No, I
No,
thought that
nothing like real big.
He
Like
won
it's kind
the
of big.
guy fought the
UFC's
biggest
big, man.
UFC fight in the history of UFC.
and he was a brawler. He might, if you
the guy might be. He won the Bellator championship. He's won the UFC championship.
is
He's
he a
fighting
UFC
over
Hall
in
of
A1.
Famer?
He's going to fight for the championship over there. He might be the most decorated lightweight in history.
I'm not a big
UFC Hall of
UFC
Famer.
fan.
I mean, if you ask me, he's a mixed martial arts Hall of Famer.
Or
I don't know about the UFC.
MMA, yeah.
The guy, you're gonna see him higher up on my list. So I'll talk about him now, though.
Same. He's on my list and a few as well. When we come across common guys, we'll just go past them real fast. You know.
We'll talk about them
Yeah.
when we get the first person puts in, and then when they
Right.
get to your guys, we'll already have discussed it.
So
But yeah,
let me-
everything he's done throughout his career, watching it, especially when you're local and you get to see a kid grow and from where he started to where he ended.
Yeah, and he's from Kensington. That's the best part. You know,
From
like
Kensington.
that's Rocky. That's
And-
what Rocky was about. He actually did. So
Yeah.
figure that out.
And that fight against Dos Santos was one of the greatest. He had him rocked from the beginning, and he finished him right. And watching Joe Rogan and that other guy do the commentary,
Yeah.
that'll make it for you right there. But even when he was
Yeah,
fighting,
that guy
with
was
Chandler,
nuts. Who's that? Diaz?
what's that?
The fat guy?
Joey Diaz.
Yeah,
that
that
the
was
guy who
doing the
does that one?
commentary.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I fucking told you.
Yeah, that's him. But yeah, his fights with Chandler and Bellator, his fights.
That
with-
was great. I got to rewatch that tonight. I forgot
Yeah,
they.
I'll watch it as soon as we're done too.
But
Yeah,
for
yeah.
our national audience, it isn't as big. He isn't as big. I don't
Yeah,
think.
maybe. I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
he's
Maybe,
big.
again,
He's
I take the
popular.
first.
No, that's untrue. Your UFC's popular, and Eddie Alvarez is very popular. All his fights are.
When we were in Dewey Beach the last time he got knocked out in UFC, we didn't even get to watch his fight because they cut it off. That's how important he was down there.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you're right, down there.
38 fights, 30 victories,
Please, you cannot.
and
we were
7
at-
losses.
We were at a Dewey Beach bar where they what they put the fight, what they put on the TV?
What's
The
that?
band that was fucking playing in the next room.
But that's Dewey Beach, right?
Yeah, it's Dewey Beach. Right. We got fucked up, though. Our buddy shit himself and the bed.
That's a great night. That's my kind of night. But if you look at the guys that Eddie Alvarez beat, Pat Curran, Michael Chandler, Gilbert Melendez, Justin Gaffney, Anthony Pettis,
Yeah,
he-
Pettis, Gaethje, Melendez, they're big names.
Yoki,
And he was
the
kicking ass.
Santos.
And he got in the UFC late, like you said. He was with Bellator, the Underground King, or whatever, whatnot.
He was beating bullies up on Bully Beatdown.
He beat that. He beat two of them up. I think he almost got disqualified for the one. I thought he was ready to kick him in the top of the head or something, but I mean, I just can't say enough. I think he's one of the greatest of all time, and that's not without even prejudice. I just his fights, every one of his fights, even the ones he loses,
Yeah.
He is a brawler.
you
I'll give him
want to
that.
watch it. You would
Not
wanna
every
watch
one of
it.
his fights. So you can't talk about he didn't defend his belt. He lost it to Conor McGregor.
But
And
it
that
was a fun
fight,
fight to watch.
so that fight sucked. He got his ass kicked. It stunk.
Yeah, but dude, you watch Conor McGregor hit him as hard as anybody you see Conor McGregor hit. He hit him hard every single punch landed.
Dude, I could tell in Eddie's fucking face he was hit.
I'm
he
not
was
saying it
doing-
was a great fight for an Eddie Alvarez fan. I'm saying
was
if
a-
I'm
he was a
watching, I like
body
watching
bag,
guys
dude.
punch the fuck out of each
And
other.
the thing with that
Yo.
was Madison Square
I got
Garden.
his shirt on.
There it is.
That was in Madison Square Garden when they opened up the betting again. And I can't believe I fucking actually had money on Eddie Alvarez.
I would have bet Eddie. Eddie, I mean, in my opinion, I would have bet him if I was betting.
We
At
did
the
bet
time.
him, but it just
He
stunk.
seemed scared.
Yeah, exactly, Bones. It looked like Big Brother was there.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't say. I don't know. I wouldn't say scared, but maybe
Well,
he
he
was a
said
little overwhelmed.
he said he got in. It seemed like there was maybe slight stage fright. He said he got away from his game plan.
Yeah, I think he wanted to go in there
He
and
said
just, I don't think he wanted to impose his will on McGregor. I thought he thinks he was tougher and bigger and stronger, and he could do what he wanted. When he probably should have just wrestled him a little more, I guess. But it's easy for me to say that sitting in a chair.
Right.
But whatever he said it after the fight, he knows he went out against what.
And like I said, truth be told, he was probably in his prime before he got in the UFC.
Yeah, he might have been.
You know,
He might have been.
it's funny these wrestlers they don't get the notice whatever till they're like in their 30s already.
Yeah, well, I think your body. I think a lot of mixed martial artists come into their primes around that time, though.
Yeah.
But you only have
It's
a
a lot
small window to be in your prime. It's probably a 3-year, 4-year window where you're in prime because you're too young in your 20s and you get too old in your mid to late 30s. So you only
And
have
it's a lot of work to become good at some kind of jujitsu or something else.
You have to be good at multiple things. You can't be just good at jiu-jitsu.
and boxing,
You can't just go
you know?
wrestling. You can't just go to striking. You
Right.
got to do it all. And
And you got to craft all those little things, and that is it's amazing what those guys do.
yeah, God bless them. I lived my life trying to not get punched in the face by people.
Eddie
They
Alvarez,
go in there to get
all-time North Catholic wrestling win leader. So
Yeah,
I think
that's a really good. And without, just, I went there, but that's a really, really accomplished wrestling sport.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was an All-American wrestler, North.
Was he? Did not know that.
okay, what you're up?
At 13?
Yep.
I'm going to go with a guy who won me a lot of money on my 21st birthday, I think it was.
Woo!
Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Oh,
Probably a little low for other people. I don't know. Some of you might have him up
I
higher.
would say so. I have him a little higher.
Yeah, and I think he could be.
You want to tell us why you're dissing him?
You know what? I don't really have a reason for this. I don't really. I've seen some of his interviews. I don't really like him as a person.
Yeah, he's just an
But-
idiot, right?
Yeah.
Too many nicknames.
What? Yeah, the
many
alien or
nicknames?
whatever the fuck you
The
say.
alien bullshit, yeah.
I actually, this isn't a knock to him. Me having him as all. It's just that it would be that I'm giving the other 12 guys. I just feel like they're that good. So this isn't really a knock against the Executioner. It's more of these other guys are that good.
Yeah, I hear you.
Guy boxed 67 fights. He won 55 of them. I mean, he beat some of the best in the world. When he beat Felix Tito Trinidad, that was one of the greatest fights and one of the better upsets I've ever seen. We all were drunk, put a lot of money on him. Yeah, I think.
What was the line? What'd you get him?
I think I either got him at 3-1.
True, baby.
Yeah, or 2, and it was a good
good night.
amount. I won like $750 on it.
That's fucking what's up, dude. That'd be
Your
great.
birthday, that's a good grab. You know what I mean?
That's a great fucking grab.
And for those out there, that was in the '90s. That's like probably like $2,000 now with inflation.
It probably you ain't too far off, but I know that was
I
still
mean,
a
what-
big motherfucker.
I mean, what you probably were buying $2 beers. We now drink $6 beers. We hit one of these hipster joints up, dude.
If you
Fucking
asked me
whacking me over
back
the
then if
fucking
I'd be
head.
buying a $6 beer, I'd laugh at you. I don't think it was $2, Chris. I think we were about $1.25.
$1.25? Are you fucking serious?
I swear to God, I think
Dude,
a
you're
can of beer was
fucking killing me, man.
$1.25,
You're
a buck and a
killing
half
me.
at the most. If it was $1, I remember when it
amazing.
went from $1.50 to $1.75. There was an up. We were started buying our own cases and standing outside and fucking in protest. We were the first ones to protest.
Yep, I hear you, baby. Fucking power to the people, brother.
That's
Power
right. We
to
took
the
it to the
people.
streets. We're not fucking bullshit. No fucking quarter of beer's a lot when you're drinking 20 of them.
Dude, well, I'm the guy that went. I remember when I was underage, drinking at the playgrounds and whatnot, throwing up fucking
I didn't
$5
do that.
for a case, whatever. I used to do that,
I'm only
and
kidding.
I would say I couldn't believe people would pay bars money to drink. You know, like why would you fucking ever sit in a bar? You know,
Exactly.
but they fucking you gotta get to I don't know. They get you in quarantine. It's kind of unhardwiring it. You know, like more people will drink even with the bars closed. There's been more alcohol consumption. So
Yeah, and I think from when we were kids growing up, not to get too off track, but you see the guys hanging in the bar. You see the older dude. You're just. I mean, that's what I was. I would walk by and be like, dude, I want to hang. I want to be them dudes. And then you get there, and then you're like, a couple of years in, you're like, I can't believe I'm still out here drinking.
yeah, it's more of a social watering hole than
Yeah,
it is now.
it's kind of like a
Social media
status thing. I feel like you're like it's a status. I'm in the bar now. My opinion, though.
All right, where we at? So I'm up. Okay, number 12. I have. Ooh, where did he go to high school? I have Brett Grimes. He's an All-Pro D-back in a league where the current NFL, these guys don't get a fucking break. These D-backs, you can't even name top 5 to 10 D-backs in the NFL right now. This guy's been around for about 10 years. He's All-Pro. Played for the Saints. Played for Miami. He has an annoying wife who's one of these like outspoken, protective wives. He's been on Hard Knocks, and most importantly, he went to a school I went to for a couple of years, Shippensburg University.
There you
And
go.
if he was able to survive Shippensburg and the
He went to
Philadelphia,
the NFL from Shippensburg.
tell you what, Shippensburg for a couple of years in the 2000s had more All Pros than Penn State and Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yep, we had Brett Grimes and we had John Kuhn, and they were routinely on the All Pros and making Pro Bowls.
Okay.
I think Penn State's finally catching up, but yeah, I'm not. Ship usually gets one guy drafted like every other year, you know.
No, I didn't. I never realized that. I knew Brent Grimes was from Philly.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, me either.
I can't fucking. Let me look up the high school of his. Sorry for killing the clock. We can move on. And I'll shout it out.
Well, you're doing that. My number 12, Woody might know this guy or his son, Gene Tinkerbell Banks. He's a 3-time high school All-American out of West Philly High. First Duke freshman with a triple-double. He was ACC Rookie of the Year, averaged 16 and 8. He was the MVP for Duke 3 out of the 4 years he attended. And then he went on to the NBA, averaged 11 and 5 in 6 years. Then he played overseas for a little bit.
Yeah, Gene played a long time, Big Gene. His kid gonna beat me up for not putting him on my list. I forgot. I'm sorry. But yeah, Gene. My dad again. I mostly heard from my dad and hoped to say how great he is. And then his son actually moved right next door to me, and I got the honor to live next to young Gene for a few years. Great people. Him, his mother, and his sister. Dad, what a basketball player. Watching some of them old videos of him, I just. You would think he was going to do. I mean, I don't want to knock what he did in the NBA, but you think he was going to be one of them all-timers greats when you watch his college tape.
Yeah, from what I read, yeah, when I was gathering the information.
But to have 11 and 6 in the NBA for a career averages,
yeah,
that's amazing. And that goes on. That should be on anybody's top 20 list again. And my apologies to the Banks family and Gene. I don't want them to have to come up on me when I say.
And the thing with everybody plays basketball, you know, like there's a million guys if they got a chance in the NBA and the opportunity and they got to touch the ball that much could put up 20 or 25 points. So with Gene Banks, I'm not sure what his situation was, but so often these guys are phenoms and great talents. They go to other teams and become team players. And that doesn't mean that they couldn't have been the 25-point scorer guys. It just means there was someone else who was maybe slightly better, and they just had to fill in a different role.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean these guys are all fucking phenoms.
Played with Jordan.
Does dictate a lot.
Played with Jordan.
What's that?
He played with Jordan. With the Bulls for a couple years.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yep.
He was still doing something with the Washington Wizards as of a few years ago. I don't know if he's
he
still
was
there or
the
not.
assistant coach. He was drafted by the Spurs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then 1981.
We're talking about guys who are competing with NBA Hall of Famers and other Hall of Famers. Some of these guys are Hall of Famers themselves. So
Yeah, and the other ones are played at a time when it was, they're playing. It's not even just Hall of Fame, like top 50 players in NBA history. A lot of them came from that era.
Yeah.
Where we at?
all right, you're up.
I'm up at number 12. I got a guy that maybe not a lot of people hear about, but another guy I heard from all the old timers. My Uncle Pat would tell me stories. My Uncle Pat turned 90 this year. God bless him. But Bernard Benny McLaughlin was a soccer player. Played on the U.S. national team. Yeah, 1948 U.S. Olympic soccer team. Was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame in 77. The guy passed away in 2012 at the age of 84. But he had a long soccer career back in the 40s all the way into the 50s and 60s, I think. From anybody I hear, just an amazing talent. And I think he went out and played against England and he actually didn't go into the one Olympics because he had a job. And they told him, you can go out and he said, I can't leave my job. That's how different things were at. In that time in the late 40s, you couldn't go to play in the Olympics because you had to make sure you put food on the table for your family. But,
And these women are complaining about money.
my uncle tells a story how he was always the left. I think, and I hope I'm not butchering it, but he said he was left wing. So he goes out to the team and he goes, "I'm left wing," and they said, "But there's a guy out there. You might want to change." He goes, "No." He's telling everybody, "No, that's my position and all." So he says he goes out there and he's watching the practice for about 5 minutes, and they came up and said, "What are you?" He goes, "I'm right wing." He said, "Because he didn't want to." He knew Benny McLaughlin was there, and that was his spot. And I'm butchering it a little bit, but that was a guy. He's a guy again that's by all accounts one of the best soccer players in the country at a time when soccer was really big back then too. I think the United States actually tied England in a big match back then. And I just figured let's throw a guy on there that probably not a lot. I know you guys probably never heard of. I only heard of him through family, and I just wanted to throw a name out there like him. Anybody else? We get that here?
Yeah, now I'm up with number 11. It's something we had early on. Dawn Staley, again, she's just an iconic figure. She's probably in the whatever the fuck how many Hall of Fames there possibly are. National championship at South Carolina, like Bone says. Played at Temple, coached at Temple. If there's a Mount Rushmore of female college basketball figures, or at least the top 10, she's definitely on there, right? It's fucking Lisa Leslie, her, fucking Pat Summit, and somebody else, Gio Auriemma.
Don't forget about Reggie Miller's sister.
Yeah, Cheryl Miller, Diana Taurasi.
Be on there. Diana Taurasi. How about that? Rebecca Lobo. I mean, there are some great women's basketball players. So.
Yeah, there are. But whatever. Like I said, she's top 25. Or probably, I don't know. She's done a lot.
You just went from Mount Rushmore, that's 4 to 10, now to 25.
She has a Mount Rushmore case for sure.
I don't even know how we ended up back with Dawn Staley. I'm lost.
But
Yeah, she's pretty high. She barely made my list, by the way. Next one I got, what's this, 12, right? Or 11?
I just did 12.
Okay, so it's number 11. He's an older guy who's an NFL player. Went to Northeast High School. Played for the Dallas Cowboys. Went to Michigan State. Herb Adderley. He's a 6-time NFL champion. 3-time Super Bowl champion. He was on the 60s All-Decade team. 48 career interceptions. NFL Hall of Famer. 48 picks is a lot for back in the 60s, 70s. They're running the ball a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Whole lot. Got a bad amount right now.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know much about her, but I hear them
Yeah,
statistics.
me either.
That tells you. That,
Good find, though.
yeah, that is a good pick. I would.
Where is he from? What part of the city, you say?
He went to Northeast.
Oh,
So I
shit.
don't.
I'm going to guess he's from the Northeast.
Sounds about right. All right, you're up at 11.
11. I'm picking a guy here now. I always knew this guy played baseball. He's one of the greatest catchers of all time. I had no idea he was born in Philadelphia. If anybody would ever ask me, I would have probably argued against it. But he's an 8-time All-Star, a 3-time NL MVP, World
Damn.
Series champion, and the NL RBI leader in 1953. 1953. I mean, he was a star in the Negro Leagues, and he came to Brooklyn.
Wow.
Holy
Who you got?
Campy. I had no idea the guy was a Philly-born player.
What was
Yeah,
his name?
same. He's up higher on my list. I didn't know he was from Philly.
Yeah, I could have put Roy Campanella could have probably been in the top 4 for me.
Oh, wow.
If I would have did the list again, I'm saying, you know, I mean, the
Right.
guy.
They were
he's
they were
probably
going to try to
one of the
break
top
him
5
in.
catchers of all time, right?
Yeah, they were going to try to break him into the to break the color barrier, and then Jackie Robinson came along.
Catcher, right?
Yeah.
2 good picks. It could have been either one of them. You need a guy like
Damn,
this.
I didn't know he was born in Philly, that guy.
To win
That's
3
amazing.
NL MVPs, to me, that's pretty impressive, especially in the 50s when there was a lot of great baseball players. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of them were in the American League, but the NL had some really good baseball
Nah, for
players.
sure.
We
Absolutely.
had the Whiz Kids back then
Yeah, right?
in the 50s. So Richie Ashburn was playing.
And yeah. So that's my pick for Roy Campanella.
Another guy that I got coming on, he was on that back then too.
So, number 10, I have a guy we just spoke about, Eddie Alvarez. So, we already spoke about him. We can move on. Who do you got at Bones?
My
we are
number 10.
We are in the top 10.
My number 10 is a boxer, considered one of the greatest chins of all time. He had 1 title fight, which he lost to Larry Holmes in unanimous decision on 2 out of the 3 cards. They said it was Howard Cosell was actually covering the boxing match, and he said that was the last boxing match he was ever going to do because that's how gross it was. And that's Randall Tex Cobb, 42-7 career record. But that caught my eye when said it was one of the most gruesome fights he ever seen in his life, and that was the last boxing match he ever covered.
Wow, that's impressive. Tex Cobb was a guy. He was in the Ace Ventura movies, or the Ace Ventura movie, in the beginning with the delivery. Remember?
Oh, that's him?
That's Tex Cobb.
I didn't know that.
Beat up by a couple guys I know from Grays Ferry or Southwest. They kicked his ass in a bar when I think that he was there to beat them up. So like,
No way.
beat him up. Yeah, there was a lot of them.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, he was the muscle for some guys, you know, back in the day. I can't say anything for his record as a boxer, but anybody who gets in the ring and fights Larry Holmes, you put him on the list. I ain't arguing. And that's about it. What do you got me for 10?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to go with a guy again. I'm going old school again. Paul Arizin. He's one of the 50 greatest NBA players, according to, in 1996, voted upon. He went to Villanova. He was drafted by the Warriors. Go through some of. He won the NBA championship in '56. He's a 10-time NBA All-Star. He was 3-time All-NBA first team, 2-time NBA scoring champion in '52 and '57. He was on the NBA's 25th anniversary team, the NBA's 50th anniversary team. I would say he's probably at the time, before the mid-century came out, I would think Paul Arizin was probably one of the top 5 or maybe 10 NBA players of all time.
Yeah, I fucked up. I don't know how I don't have that guy on my top 12. I think I got my first draft top 20 list in front of me. I did it fucking by pen. I had like 3 of these lists like laying around the house. And Bones was like, "You still doing top 20?" I was like, "Let me go grab one of these lists."
Yeah,
But fucking Paul, yeah, like you said, that dude's an NBA. He's top 50 Hall or top 50 NBA player of all time. So
almost 23 a game, 8.5 boards, 2.3 assists. I mean, there's not really much more you have to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's up on my list. He's up higher. when he retired, he was third in the league in scoring in
Really?
NBA history when he retired,
There you
and
go.
sat out 2 seasons to serve in the Korean War.
Yeah, my list is not a travesty, but something I fucked up here.
I think we all are going to come to that conclusion. At least I am at the end.
Right.
Adam won't admit it, even if he does though. That. But
Chris
yeah, I
is
definitely there's a couple
puffing
guys
that
on your
shit.
list that I should have on mine.
I can't believe you left Gene Banks off your list.
Who?
Me,
Whitey.
Oh yeah.
my neighbor. The kid was a good ball player. He really was good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously not making this list, but he's
He's not
a good
making
ball
this
player.
list.
He's a good high school neighborhood high school basketball
He
player.
was the top. He was always the top 10 guy on the court that day.
I'd say. If I was
But,
on the court, he was the number one guy. If it was me versus him.
Yeah. He took advantage of some underage white kids like myself playing some full court.
Nothing wrong with
But my number 9 is a Frankfurt grad, a Super Bowl champion. Like your Eric Williams pick, this new block for Drew Brees, who end up breaking passing records, is Jahari Evans. And he also, like another pick I had, Brett Grimes, went to a PSAC school with Bloomsburg University. So there's a lot of talent out there, and sometimes these big schools, they miss out on it. And this guy is one of those cases. I think he's a 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro. Let me see if I can pull this up real fast.
Wasn't he linked to the Eagles at one point in free agency a year or two
Yeah.
ago or so? We missed out on
Yep.
getting that guy. He would have been a nice pickup with all the injuries we took to the line.
So he played 183 games, started every single one. 4-time first-team All-Pro, 1-time second-team All-Pro, 2010's All-Decade team, 6-time Pro Bowler. Yeah, 2-time All-American D2. So, yeah, he's probably a Hall of Famer or close to it. I'm not sure what they do at linemen or whatnot, but, yeah, he's pretty decorated.
I mean, if you're an all
Yeah, that's my number 9.
all-decade team, says, that's a long time to be. You can't just play 2-3 years and be on an all-decade team. You have to
Yeah, right.
more than half the decade. Yeah,
But
that's a guy
it's so hard to judge fucking linemen, you know?
Well, a guy like me and you, I mean, I can't speak for you guys, but a guy like me
Yeah.
trying to watch it and understand how important the line
You
is.
would have to rewatch it. You got to rewatch the game. Just focus on that alone.
Yeah, if they're not making mistakes, usually you only see a
Right.
lineman when they're making a mistake. So if you don't hear much from them, that means they're usually they're playing a pretty good game.
Right.
Who you got, Bones?
So number 9 on my list, he's I only grabbed he was a member of the Whiz Kids, as we just talked about. Del Ennis, 288 career homers, 1,284 RBIs, Phillies Wall of Fame in 1982. And them RBIs and home runs is more than Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins.
Wow. And Jimmy Rollins, both Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley are considered borderline Hall of Famers.
Yep.
And have a guy, that's some impressive numbers, especially, again, I guess you got to take the time and put everything into consideration on it. I don't know. That's a guy definitely, and nobody can argue him again.
And Jimmy Rollins, he couldn't really hit. That's the facts on Jimmy Rollins.
He couldn't hit.
Not really. I mean, he was. What's his career average? Like 250 or some shit?
Yeah, it's not very high. I mean, yeah, but he was a triple guy, he was a double guy. He did have some.
All-time Phillies hits leader.
Had a lot of speed. Yeah, well, his thing was longevity for the most part. And he was really bad late, hitting-wise.
I mean, he's
but-
borderline Hall of Fame, right? I mean, he's going to.
Nah, I don't think Jimmy Rollins Hall of Fame.
I don't know. From talking to
He has
some
a
of the
better
guys
shot
that
than
I talked
Utley.
to, he's on. He's the only guy from that team that they have.
Yeah, I can't believe that. That drives me crazy almost, to be
You
honest.
know what? Next time I'm on here, we'll do some research and we'll.
Yeah, we'll have to do fucking the Phillies thing. But yeah, it's because it's all that longevity bullshit. They put up these fucking hash marks.
Yeah, but I mean, what did he lead the league in triples for a few seasons?
He had that MVP year, which
Won
kind of
the
like
MVP.
skyrockets his resume. He was like amazing.
Range of his defense was
Unreal.
incredible.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I mean, if guys like Ozzie Smith are thought of as like no-brainer Hall of Famers, I'd like to see Jimmy Rollins. You could put his numbers offensive.
With Ozzie Smith. Yeah, right. I know Ozzie Smith wasn't fucking smashing the ball.
And I only pick Ozzie because I think he's great and I think he deserves, fame. I said I would like to see the comparison.
Yeah, we'll do another episode. We'll compare old school dudes to new school dudes.
And we'll just do some.
But
who's Hall of Fame and who's not, maybe.
Right. We'll figure it out. Where are we at here?
I got my 9.
Yes.
Woody, number 9, yeah.
I'm going to go with Earl the Pearl Monroe, another guy I would never have known was born in Philadelphia until I started looking. He's an NBA champion, 4-time NBA All-Star. He's the Rookie of the Year. He was on the NBA's 50th anniversary all-time team. His numbers retired by 2 different teams, the Knicks and the Wizards. He has almost 19 points a game, 3 rebounds, and almost 4 assists. Played for about 13 seasons in the NBA.
Got hurt.
Went
right.
to John Bartram. I think Bartram has a few guys that we mentioned so far.
Bartram has a lot of guys.
Yeah. So, I would have never known the Pearl was from. I've heard the name forever. I watched some old videos of him. I never knew he was from Philadelphia. Full disclosure here.
Yeah, I've same thing. He's
Neff
on my
boy,
list.
man.
What's that?
Neff
He's
boy,
on my-
right? Is he a Syracuse guy?
No, we went to Winston-Salem State, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking the other.
He has one of the
Earl
awesomest
Washington.
nicknames ever besides Earl the Pearl, Black Jesus. That's an awesome name.
That's amazing.
That's where they got the whatchamacallit from.
He got game?
Yeah,
What, Jesus Shuttleworth?
yeah,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
yeah. I did read
Yeah.
that when I was thinking Earl of Pearl Washington. He
Oh,
went to
there you
Syracuse.
go. This is the Pearl Monroe, bro.
Yeah.
Don't get your pearls twisted now.
And again, he had a style that was very transcendent.
Yeah.
Back to me. I'm at number 8. Guy we talked about again, Kyle Lowry. Bones, I owe you a chug. They didn't win it, so cheers to that. Then we can move on to your number 8.
My number 8 was already said. Rui Campanella. Winning in
My
fairly
number
deep.
8 real quick, too. I had Eddie George. I think we already discussed enough about Eddie George.
Yeah, they're big heavy hitters. Number 7, Gene Banks. Again, just a local playground guy. I gave more credit to guys that had Philadelphia that had the Philadelphia-ness coming from them, Play locally, then on to be Coach K's first All-American, whatnot. His, like you said, grew up fucking right around the corner, right on Lehigh Ave, and yeah, that kind of shit's great. We know his son. We've seen his son play basketball at the playground with us and whatnot. So that has Gene Banks coming in at number 7 for me.
Perfect.
Number 7 for me was what he just talked about on Earl Monroe.
Yeah,
So my number 7 is a guy
that was the biggest shocker, the Earl Monroe one for me.
never knew he was from Philly.
Yeah, I thought he was a New York dude. You always hear New York.
His whole career, not his whole career, but a big part of his career was with the Knicks. I
Right.
just thought he was a New York kid that played there and went and played Pro Bowl with them. Never would have known. All right, so my number 7, get back to it, is I always call him St. Anne's second toughest man ever, besides me. Bucko Kilroy. Bucko Kilroy went to St. Anne's, our school that did you go to? You went to St. Anne's too, right, Chris?
Yeah,
Yeah, we all.
I was.
Oh, no, Adam, you St. Anne's kid too, right? Or
St.
you
Wrenches.
you Hackett? What?
St. Wrenches.
Ah, Paul.
Adam came on, he bandwagoned himself to a title.
Anyway, Bucko Kilroy went to St. Anne's, played in the NFL. He's a North Catholic guy. He played, back in the day. I'm going to say the 40s. I think he was an offensive lineman. Let me do some more research.
He was.
Offensive guard and tackle at 6'2" and 240. How things have changed. You're 6'2", 240. You're a running back at this point, or maybe even a small linebacker. He's playing guard and tackle. He was part of
Jesus Christ.
and the Eagles and Steelers had to come together because of the war. He played on that team.
The Steagles.
Yep, the Steelers. He was a 2-time NFL champion, a 3-time Pro Bowler, and part of the NFL 1940s All-Decade team. They won that championship in '60. And he won 3 Super Bowls too, as an executive.
Amazing.
Bucko
That's
Kilroy.
And he played it, and he played an era where he had to be a mean son of a bitch to be fucking on the fucking trenches.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So, and I'm an offensive lineman from St. Anne's myself, so fucking he was always the goat I looked up to. Then went north, so you always heard about him. Anytime they would have like our website and shit, his number was always up there. Bucko Kilroy, whatever.
Nice. And that's a guy who did Philly from St. Anne's to North Catholic to Temple. It kind of reaches
Lehigh Ave again. It's just Lehigh Ave.
It's like in Massachusetts. Philly guy to me.
All right, so back to me. Number 6, I have Rasheed Wallace. This guy had a great NBA career, transcended, went to North Carolina, top 5 program all time. Can't say too much more about him that we haven't already. So, go ahead, Bones.
I had Tom Gola.
Nice.
So
Right.
that's quick. We already talked about
My
him.
number 6 is a guy who, again, isn't very famous for a sport. I don't even know if some people would consider it a sport. But in the sport of rowing, I got a guy named Jack Kelly. We've named our Kelly Drive after.
Ooh.
He was also the father of Princess Grace of Monaco. Jack Kelly was an Olympic rower.
Piece of ass.
This is good stuff, Whitey.
Yeah, he won gold in the Olympics in 1920 in the single scull, the double scull, and then 1924 gold in Paris in the double scull. He won the Gold Cup Challenge in 1920 also in the single sculls. The guy was obviously at the top of what you do, and it's an athletic sport. Whether if you ever try to row a boat, it takes a lot out of you. And to have the Kelly name and the Kelly Drive and everything else, he was, to me, early part of the century. One of the greatest Philadelphia athletes. So I figured I knew nobody would probably have him on there either, so threw him on the list.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's a great pull. With all the fucking weeks I had, I should have jumped back into deep research. But yeah, you can make an argument for him to be number 1 with Kelly Drive and how every sporting event they show on TV, when we have prime time, Sunday night, anytime we're in a World Series or a championship or not a Super Bowl, because Super Bowl's so fucking ginormous and it's not local, but they always show you the shot of Kelly Drive. People get it tattooed on them,
Yeah, and I think a lot of the races that we still have on the Schuylkill, a lot of them big college races, what is it, the Davao or one of them?
We have huge.
A lot of that's because of his accomplishments earlier in the sport. So I just thought he was a big part of Philadelphia sports and wanted to make sure he was on the list.
Yeah, it's great. That's a great name to have. My number 5 again. I believe he's a top 10 college or top 20 college basketball player of all time. Is Tom Gola. Went to a Jesuit school, pretty much won at a modern day Gonzaga. That's my top 5, but we are officially in the top 5, baby.
Nice.
My number 5 was a Roman grad in the 90s. Played football and basketball there. Then he went on to Syracuse. Then he went on to the NFL, became the second all-time leader in receptions for a single season. He's number 3 all-time, 4 wide receivers in receptions, 5th all-time. There's 2, Jason Witten and Tony Gonzalez are in there. And he's one of 7 people with 100-plus touchdowns receiving, and that's Marvin Harrison.
Nice.
I want to see who the 4 you have ahead of him. But, yeah, he's definitely, I would say.
And there's a little tidbit that where they closed off the streets down at Roman between, like, Vine and something, and he ran the fastest guy on the track team and fucking blew him out of the water during lunch. All the teachers were in. It was like a sanction. It was like an unsanctioned thing. There was, like, betting going on.
Yeah, that was
no way.
They actually did a thing on ESPN.
It's a big story that's told a lot by people.
They did a thing on ESPN about it.
Who?
They did a thing on ESPN about it.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then when he gave his Hall of Fame speech, he mentioned guy from the neighborhood. His dad was his coach. I think I texted you. I forget who it was off the top of my head.
Yeah, damn. Wasn't Joe Ferrera. Who was it? Was it Joe Ferrera?
Might have been. Yeah. Because they asked you if it was the dude that lived down the street from me. It's old man. You said yeah.
Yeah, he taught at Rome, and he was a great guy. He taught me summer school my freshman year. He worked at Sion for a couple of years as
Really?
the playground leader. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. That's good stuff right there. Yeah, I like I said, I just want to see who you have ahead of Marvin Harrison because he's going to show up on my list in a little bit too.
You're at what?
We have 5.
You're
I'm
up.
not, I have a guy we already mentioned, Eddie Alvarez. I just think he's one of the greatest of all time in his sport, and a little bit biased because I love the sport that he's in, and he's just a couple times that I got to be around him, he's just a great dude. So I had Eddie Alvarez at number 5.
Damn, that's a good one to have. Then back to me. My number 4 is a guy we talked about already, Bernard Hopkins. His story's unreal. He has longevity. And truth be told, his wash and lube down on Spring Garden might not just be the best in the city, but the best in the entire country.
What kind of wash and lube you talking about here?
What's
For
the
your car.
address? We're off radio. I want to know the address, bro.
What's that?
What kind of wash and lube you talking about?
We're off air, man. I could.
Yeah, I'm talking about getting my car washed and lubed and my oil changed for $40.
Wow, man, it's $1.50 where I go, bro.
No way. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like to
but
get my
oil?
pipes clean too.
They crack
No,
my
actually-
toes while they're at it, though.
I actually thought I would get in the good graces of my mother, and I drove her car to get a oil change and a wash because they have a deal. It's $50. I get there, and her car takes like blended oil, so I couldn't get the deal, and I ended up dropping like $8. Yeah, I was like, I still had to do it, So I was like, fuck, I guess blend the oil. I don't know shit about cars, so.
Holy shit!
And you still got to tip those guys. So yeah, it was like a $90. I went from $40 to $90.
Better tip them. They're doing all that.
Yeah, for sure. I gave the oil guy $5 and the hand wash guy is $5.
This went off the rails, bro.
Yeah, he's my number 4.
That's a good number 4.
My number 4 was mentioned already. Paul Rising.
Nice.
All right. My number 4 is another pro wrestler. Obviously, my old school wrestling. A guy I didn't know until this year was born in Philadelphia in the Port Richmond section, or Bridesburg. Was one half of probably the most well-known and greatest tag teams in the history of pro wrestling. Road Warrior Animal Joe Laurinaitis. I think.
No way.
Yeah, he was born in. His dad was a North Catholic. Played baseball for North Catholic. He was born here. He was here till he was only in about 10 or 11. Then he moved out. He went down to Florida, I think, and then out to Minnesota. But he was born here, and I found out recently his dad played at North Catholic, won an NBA. A baseball championship as a pitcher with the North Catholic Falcons.
Another LaSalle grad. He went to LaSalle too, right? College?
LaSalle, yeah. LaSalle College, yes. And obviously the Road Warriors, if you're in the pro wrestling, obviously, again, you can argue whether it's a sport or not, but the Road Warriors are known anywhere you go from Japan, Germany, all over the United States, Canada, and Mexico. They're one of the best of all times. And
Ooh, what a rush.
yeah, buddy. I just thought it was really cool that he was a Polak from Port Richmond, Bridesburg, and his father went to North, so I wanted to throw him on the list. Because again, before this, and I was watching actually a shoot interview with him, and he mentioned all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how I found out about it. And then you guys came up with this idea. And now I'm thinking our top 3s are going to be. We'll probably have at least 2 of the same on every one of our lists.
So how about we give all of them right now, our top 3s?
All right.
Well,
Let's start us
mine-
off, Chris, or Bones? Who
Yeah,
we going?
good. My number 3 was already said.
Here.
Same. I had Marvin Harrison.
I got Hopkins.
People love T.O., people love Randy Moss, but at the end of the day, Marvin Harrison's numbers are up there with the both of them. Before very recently, he was an all-time reception leader with 144, and he was Peyton Manning's right-hand man. And if you know anything about Peyton Manning, this guy was methodical, work your ass off, don't fuck anything up, and he had a guy that was his perfect companion that set the tone for the Indianapolis Colts for pretty much what they are still today.
Yeah, no doubt. He's my number 3 as well. I mean, if you talk about a guy that's just consistent, you knew you were getting at him every night. You know you were getting 10 to 12 receptions every single time he stepped on the field. He did everything on the field correctly. He might not have been the flashiest. He wasn't getting behind everybody on big plays every game, but he was going to get open and he was going to catch the ball. And when you have a guy like Peyton Manning who's going to put the ball right where you need to be, having a guy like him was, I think they balance each other out pretty well. And without one, I don't think you have the other one.
Yeah, a lot of Peyton's shit was all about timing, and this guy was just right there every time he threw that ball up, and he was right there.
I mean, I guess we can't say enough about Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, you can't.
My number 3 was Bernard Hopkins. We already said him. The alien.
Yeah.
20 total defenses against 17 different people.
So steady. You know what I mean? His defense was just incredible.
Yep.
He fought the best all over the world, and he, like you said, he defended the championship tons of times. He fought different weight classes. He went up. Bernard Hopkins could be in anybody's top 5, top 3.
For sure. Bones. We were talking about football. Did you ever put the pads on, White?
No.
No, I never put the pads on. Bones has a lame excuse that he put the pads on. As how long did your football career last, Bones?
Month and a half.
A month and a half. Did you play a game? Did you
I
get a
played a
in?
game. Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool.
Yeah.
What team did you get to play for?
I played for the Leprechauns.
Is that where you played too, Chris?
Nah, I was too big. I played CYO up at yeah.
I don't know what the story was when I got around here. I didn't even know there was a football team until I was older. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I guess my mom and dad probably didn't want me to play. I wasn't a phenomenal football player anyway, but I think I could have played at that age group.
For sure.
Yeah, well, you weren't even born in Philly, were you?
I was born in Philly. Incorrect. I was born in Philly. I moved to Jersey when I was 1 year old, but I was back by the time I was 4.
No way. Man, that would have been funny.
I don't get to make that decision. My sister wasn't. She's an illegal alien. She's born in Underwood Hospital in New Jersey, Mantua, New Jersey. But she cannot say she was born in Philadelphia.
But, yeah, my career got cut short when Spike tackled me and I hurt my Achilles.
Oh,
Maybe that's the start of all your knee problems, bro.
probably.
Maybe.
I'll tell you what, if Spike tackled anybody, including half of these guys on this list, they would have probably had and everything else.
But what? I played for Ascension in 5th grade and then moved and played at a different school.
Oh, okay.
I played with Joe Kelly. I was in 5th grade. He was in 8th grade, and that's what I was fucking lining up against. It was a fucking – yeah, he was kicking my ass. Made me better, though. Made me better.
That's right. It usually does.
But, yeah, my number 2, Earl Monroe. Biggest shocker on the list. This guy was style and grace. They love him up in New York, and apparently we let them hijack where he was born from. So let's make Earl Monroe a Philadelphian again.
Let's remember it. Yeah, exactly.
So Chris is going against the grain here, just out of spite. And my number 2 is Kobe Bryant.
Oh.
The records speak for himself. He was Lower Merion High School. Once he moved back here, he was Player of the Year, 5-time NBA champ, 2-time Finals MVP, 18-time All-Star. He won the MVP of the All-Star game 4 times, 15-time All-NBA, 11 times he was first team. And then the biggest shocker, I didn't know, he was 12-time All-Defensive Team.
I was going to mention that. I thought you were going to leave that off. Yeah.
And then he was 4th in scoring since LeBron passed him just the night before he passed away here in Philly, actually.
What a story.
LeBron passed him. And 20 two-time gold medalist. He played all 20 years with one franchise.
He's my number 2 as well. I mean, all the things you just said, plus what he's done, what he did, he just transcended sport. He was a guy, he was an ambassador. He brought people wanted to watch the NBA because of Kobe Bryant. When Jordan was retiring and there was a little bit of, transition happening in the NBA, he was right at the top of the list, leading the way into the new NBA. His Lakers teams were awesome. I hated every minute of it, but they were great. They beat our guys in 2000. We could have had Kobe, obviously, but I don't think anybody knew at the time. Kobe had a great story about it.
Jerry West did.
Yeah, he did. That's when he traded Vlade Divac, and I forget who else to get him.
Eddie Jones?
Eddie Jones played on the team with Kobe, and Kobe tells a great story about Eddie in one of the, if you watch when they were doing, after Kobe passed away, they were doing a lot of his old interviews and all. He spoke very highly of Eddie, who really helped him become the player that he was, in his words, which I found to be great, And just,
I gotta look that one up, too.
Yeah, look that up, watch it. He's in the locker room, and they start talking about it. Eddie was tough on him when he was young because that's what you did to
That's
young.
how Eddie, yeah.
You said with Joe Kelly and you, made you a better player.
Well, same thing. Well, with Eddie Jones, his story is he was, I think, born in this. He didn't make our list because he's not born in Philadelphia, but he grew up and he pretty much adopted Philly. And I think, I'm not sure he played. I think he got to Temple as a 18-year-old freshman, and then from there,
he was a JUCO transfer.
He transferred, but immediately was adopted by Aaron McKee. Aaron McKee had an infrastructure around him of a strong neighborhood community infrastructure that made sure Aaron Key was going to stay straight. And they pretty much adopted Eddie Jones as well.
Yeah.
And that's where he got his heart hardened from. That's where he learned responsibility and his work ethic from, which, like I said, I'm going to watch this clip later. I'm sure Kobe touches on that.
Yeah, and like I said about Aaron earlier being a coach on the court, that's exactly what Eddie was too.
Great candidate.
Telling you guys where to be on the court. He wasn't just saying it because that's where he wanted you to be. It's because that's where you're supposed to be.
And Eddie's a shooter too, so he would have translated great.
He was the third leading and 3-point made when he at one point in his career after he retired. He's since passed by about 12.
No shit, that's crazy. Oh yeah, today it's so great.
Today he's probably 20th or 20.
It's all active players in the top 10, which is absurd.
Yeah.
Kobe is.
The next podcast we'll do other subjects and the basketball and everything will be back. But man, once the Sixers lose, I'm not sure if I'm staying tuned. I'll say that.
If you're not what?
I'm not sure if I'm going to stay tuned into the NBA playoffs.
Yeah. We'll probably. If we're staying on, hanging on about that,
but different conversation.
Yeah.
You got everyone's number 2. We all have the same number 1.
Well, no, you threw a wrench into this plan.
Oh, my apologies.
What happened?
Who's your number 1, Chris?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, okay.
My number 1.
It's my number 1.
I mean,
Chris left Kobe off because he's trying to say he wasn't born in Philly.
Wasn't born in Philly. He claims to be a world citizen. This all happened leading up to the.
Why does it have him? I thought he was born in Philly.
He was.
He was born in Philly.
Was he born in Philadelphia?
Fell out of Mississippi
Yes.
Bowl or nothing, but I'm just.
I got to draw the line. I got to see where the line's at.
Chris said he wants to know what hospital he was born at.
We don't know. He was probably born at home.
Right. I didn't deliver him.
He's probably born in a tub in Lower Marion that was nicer than fucking my house. But nah, my shot is he claimed to be a citizen of the world or some fucking gay bullshit.
That is a really stupid thing to say.
Yeah, that was the other thing. He spoke like 6 languages.
But his
Yeah,
dad,
I know.
That's kind of crazy if your dad hates you too. You know what I mean?
He's a maniac. Let's be honest, and he liked rough sex.
Dude, what he did to that girl's hole has to be something. That gets him in my top 20.
I heard he did her like this.
All right. All right, that visual burned in my head. I ain't gonna fall asleep.
Well, give us your Wilt shit here, Chris.
Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain. He's top 3, top 5 basketball player of all time. He's probably the original high school phenom freak. He ends up getting recruited, going to Kansas. He breaks the high jump record at the time. So people want to talk about LeBron James and whatnot, but Wilt Chamberlain, his athletic ability was beyond LeBron James. People want to talk about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's a top 5 basketball player of all time. Most people probably have him above Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain played against Kareem, who's slightly older, and was still the only man that was able to jump high enough to block Kareem's famous unblockable skyhook. So, if you want to talk about myths, there's plenty of great YouTube content on Wilt Chamberlain and the talent centers he played against. Walt Bellamy, who was a 6'10", 260-pound athletic center. Nate Thurman, who's the dude down with the Bullets. Wes Unseld, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell. I mean, those big guys, every single one I just named, would be all pro in today's NBA.
Yeah, one of the biggest misconceptions is that he played against 5'10" white guys.
It's complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
And you want to listen to guys like Sonny Hill, and you want to talk to old school guys that actually got to see him play, and they're going to explain you what Wilt Chamberlain did. He was the records that you're seeing. All these different records are because of Wilt Chamberlain.
Yes, they changed the rules
to hurt him. Not to make it easier for him.
And even with Jordan, I mean, and then you talk about Bill, like people say, oh, Bill Russell, he won 8 whatever in a row. I don't know. I didn't get to see the game back then, but man, would I have loved to see that rivalry, to see what was actually going on.
Wilt outplayed him pretty much every game, and
the
Bill
big
Russell
thing
also was amazing. Probably the second or top 5 centers of all time. One of the best defensive players ever, and Wilt was still just hammering them every time they played. He played. If you look at the teams, you don't even have to watch the games. You can just look at the Hall of Famers on each guy's list and understand what Wilt Chamberlain was to the NBA. And they told him he was selfish. He decided he was going to lead the league in assists, which might make you still selfish, but he still led the league in assists. He said, "Well, a player in the NBA now could say, whatever you want to do, I'm going to do it." And that's
history repeating himself. LeBron James is trying to do it. LeBron James wants to have all. LeBron James is so in tune with history and knows where he lands that he's trying to get he knows he can't do 6 in a row like Jordan. So he needs the longevity argument. He needs 3 to 5 more appearances within the next 7 years or so. He needs the 1 year where he goes for the season leader assists. He's going to start doing shit like that. Watch. And he's doing it this year. Where's he? I wonder where he's at on the all-time assist thing. Or where he's at.
I mean, I don't want to knock LeBron on anything he's done. He's definitely one of the best, but
stat chaser, baby, stat chaser.
But you're chasing, but the stats you're chasing are Wilt Chamberlain. That's my
bingo. He is, which is fine.
He was making them, and just everything he's done is just amazing. 30 points a game plus for a career, 22, 23 rebounds, never fouled out of a game. Played almost every minute of every game he played for every. Shaq had a story where he said he wasn't getting the minutes that he wanted, so he was yelling at the coach, "I want more minutes." I think they were playing him about 28 to 30 minutes a night. I can play 40. So they started playing him 34 minutes a night. He fouled out of 5 out of the first 6 games. They just dropped my minutes down again. Wilt was playing 38 minutes a night and never fouling out.
That's crazy. Never fouled out. I didn't know that.
And when he blocked shots, he didn't block them into the 8th row where the other team got the ball. He blocked shots and put them in play for his teammates to score in transition. I mean, just all the stories you hear about.
He was meeting these balls at the highest point. Watch him jump straight up. It's amazing to see. It looks fake.
When he was at Overbrook, my dad was at Westcott. He didn't play. But he would watch the practices, and they would have guys on tables standing in front of the rim, and you have to shoot over them because when they were going to play, Wilt was going to be above the rim shooting your shot. So you had to learn to shoot over them. And again, he played in a time in Philly high school there was we had great basketball players back then. Chink Smith and those guys. These guys were just great, and he dominated every level, everywhere he walked on the court. And let's not take away what he was doing off the court in the bedroom with some of these ladies.
That's what I was going to say, man. You forgot the most important stat. Bang the most quiff known to man.
Absolutely. Nature Boy number 2, Wilt number 1.
Yeah, is that the official record? What's Nature Boy at?
He's about 1,200 behind him, I think.
What do they call them? They call him stick man. He's a stick man.
He's definitely a stick man, my man. All over the place. 2, 3, 4 women at a time.
Gee, what
his-
man.
His weeks is like my all-time. You know what I mean? Like, God
Yeah.
bless him. Can't put that. You can't leave that off the.
Yeah, he had nights where he could probably he probably had 30 women, orgy style,
Yeah.
Who's it? Wilt?
enjoying the
Nature Boy
fruits
and
of
the
life.
Who? Who is it?
Wilt, Nature Boy and the Newt.
Yes, it is. Dude. Called Tyrone Hardon. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's really arguing Will Chamberlain, even if you didn't have
You
him, you're having him in your top 2 or 3.
We're talking. He's top 5 athletes probably of all time, if not
Oh.
number 1.
Like you said, I think he was a
Great
javelin
volleyball player too.
What?
Great volleyball player too.
Volleyball. I mean, the guy, you wish you had a 1/10 of his athleticism for a week.
He was super strong. He looked like you see the old school high school videos when he's lanky, but once he got into the 70s, and I think when he retired maybe in the 80s at some point, he is a thick, mean-looking fucking dude. He looks like he's about to clobber somebody.
About 300. He got close
Old
to
school
300.
headband.
Yeah, I
he
like
wasn't fucking
that.
around, you know.
Goatee.
Yeah, he looked like he was ready to fight.
Yeah, man. That's a good
But-
time.
All right, this was a long one, boys, but I
Yeah.
think we beat it up pretty well. Did we get everybody's? Right, we did.
Got
Yeah.
on mine in.
And we'll aim for next week. Me and Bones, and see. Maybe we'll do the boycott talk. Maybe sports. Baseball will be back, so hopefully we're talking about the Phillies kicking ass, and Bryce Harper being on a MVP season. You know,
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
see.
they're saying Wheeler's not going to miss a game.
Yep.
That's
So
good
pitch
stuff.
Saturday.
Yeah. So I'm getting excited.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always fun. I wish I had a couple more beers. I should have taken them out. I didn't realize I wasn't going to be able to walk back to the fridge.
Yeah, I hope I didn't keep you up too late.
I'm more than willing and happy to come back on again. I'll skip next week to talk about that. But next time we're going to talk some old school sports. I'd love to come on.
Sounds good. Yeah,
Yep.
we'll line up who should be in the Hall of Fame argument.
I love that. All right, boys. Thank
Nice.
you. Have a great night. Tell the world, whatever. And God bless.
And God bless
see you,
you.
White.
White. See you, Bones.
See ya.
Yep.
All right,
We're
everybody.
out.
Yeah.